Well, the GRE is well, let me start with the GMAT. The GMAT is the graduate admissions test that you take in order to get into business school, or in order to apply to business school. The GRE is a more general test for graduate schools at large. Some business schools take it, some don't. The only exception is law school and medical school. They have their separate, unique exams, but other than that, all graduate schools will accept the GRE. The GMAT is reserved for business school. Well, the GMAT's harder. I mean, just plain and simple. It's a more difficult, complex, subtle exam that requires a lot more sophisticated techniques in order to really get the highest score. And that's called the 700. That's the magic number, where most of the big schools like Harvard and Stanford and Wharton, they want to score in the 700s. But here's the thing you want to keep in mind. Just because it's harder doesn't mean that it's more highly valued by business schools. In working with clients, I don't ask them what school they want to go to and therefore what tests they should be taking. I don't make the recommendation based on that. I make the recommendation based on their background. And again, this goes back to, is your consultant taking the time to get to know you? You personally, your academic history, personal history, professional history, your future ambitions. Why? Is he pressing you, or is she drilling down deep enough to get to places that you even haven't considered in your application? Because that's what a good consultant does. So GRE and GMAT's no different. I need to get to know somebody very well to determine and spend about an hour with them, which is what I do, complimentary, in order to answer the question that they'll ask me, do I want to go through the GRE or the GMAT, and what's better for me? Because the question is really what's better for me, what maximizes my chances. And it's not necessarily the harder test. Here's what evaluating a GMAT score tells an admissions officer. It tells the admissions officer how good you are at the GMAT. Here's what evaluating a GRE score tells the admissions officer: how good you are at the GRE. And that's all it does. Now, in their eyes, it does a little bit more than that, or a lot more than that. But the fact is, it's not. It's a test. It's a singular test. It tests certain abilities, okay, and certain acquired information. And that's all it tests, is that particular thing. So is it a measure of human potential? No. Is it an indication of your potential success in graduate school or business school? No. It's an instrument that is used, and one instrument only, used to evaluate admissions. Have I seen people with crummy test scores and very mediocre GPAs get in to the top schools? Yeah. You know how? Well, the application is designed to allow people to neutralize underwhelming test scores and GPAs, and still gain admissions, again, through the essays, letter of recommendation, resume, supplementary essays, activities, awards, all of these things that allow the admissions committee to say, I might not have the highest test scores or the best GPA, but I know I'm the right candidate. I know I'm going to be successful in your program. So if you think that the admissions committee is against you, they're not. They've established an application, or they've designed an application to equal the playing field for people whose GPAs and test scores don't meet their average standard. You can just fall out of bed at 3 o'clock in the morning and take a test cold, not ever having seen it, and get a 95th percentile score. I'm one of those people. Does that make me smart? No. No, it doesn't. It just makes me good at the GMAT. That's it. Doesn't make me good at volleyball. Doesn't make me good at selling real estate. Doesn't make me good at flying an airplane. It just makes me good at the GMAT. For some reason, people translate standardized test scores and GPAs into some sort of generalized intelligence. It's not. It really, trust me, I know. I'm really good at these tests, and I don't even have to try. And it doesn't make me smart or even smarter than my clients who struggle with it. It just makes me good at this, and I can help people at this. Okay. So how should students prepare? Depends. If they're one of those people that can just fall out of bed at 3 in the morning and get a high score, they shouldn't pay anybody. They should just take the test. If you're struggling and you begin, especially if you're beginning to question your intelligence, if these tests are wearing on your self-esteem, consider, this is going to sound like a infomercial for mental health, which it kind of is, because standardized tests can affect people's mind. If studying for the GMAT or GRE is beginning to affect your mental health, speak to somebody. Now, when I say, and I'm half joking, half not, as you can tell, when I say speak to somebody, I mean somebody caring who is a GMAT and GRE expert that can put you back on the right track of what the test means and help you to master it, because it's a test that can be mastered, okay, regardless of what starting point you're at.